Hello and welcome to the Route 1 Show, the football podcast bringing you all the latest football in action from West Yorkshire and beyond. I'm Stephen Brown, and in the studio with me this week, well, they're both back. First of all, it's Tim Facksheet Feather. Hi, Tim.
All right.
And Alex Spiver.
You all right, Steve?
Coming up on the show today, well, we've got all the latest updates from our teams across West Yorkshire. We'll also be celebrating the fact that England will be going to the World Cup next year. And we'll also have a Premiership preview for all the weekend's games. OK, so England qualified for the 2014 World Cup in Brazil, beating Poland 2-0. All good, isn't it, Tim? There we go. England are through.
Have you got a knife and fork to eat your words? Or?
Yeah,
I remember being sat here in this studio with Chris Bell and you went, no, I don't think we'll qualify.
Did I say I don't think we'll qualify?
I'm pretty sure you did.
I think I might have said I think it's difficult. We'd have to go back and we'd have to check the audio, but I think it's all been deleted, so we're not going to be able to find out, actually. But it was a very convincing performance, was it? Last two games, I don't think anyone could deny that England have really put on a show, haven't they, both games? Townsend, what a find.
Yeah, I'd definitely, if I was to describe both performances in one word, it would definitely be professional. I think it was a strong performance from all of them, to be honest. I mean, there were points in the second half of the Poland game where we thought, you know, it could go either way. Poland looked like they're going to get something. Yeah. I think England knew the dynamic of the game at that point, and there was no point in trying to push for another one.
No.
It would have, trying to push for another one might have let Poland in to score another one. But as soon as Rooney got that first one, I think everybody just breathed that sigh of relief, yeah.
Absolutely. Alex, I thought it was impressive the way England kind of went at it, really. I haven't seen as exciting game for England, possibly that Sweden game in Euro 2012, but it was actually exciting, wasn't it? There was that period in the first half where Townsend hit the bar. It was wave after wave of England attack. It was good to watch, wasn't it?
Yeah, this seemed to have upped the tempo the last couple of games. Even that Montenegro game, I thought we started.
Yeah, I thought we were good against.
Just seems a lot more energy and more pace, and it's looking a lot brighter than it did a few months ago with the younger players in attack now.
Yeah,
we will give you some credit. You have said for the past couple of weeks that positive England. That's what you wanted.
That's what. Just to be honest. The thing I want is England to play. The Ukraine match was about as bad as it can get in terms of having to watch it. That's what I hate. That's the side of it that I can't stand. When England attack, it's great, you know.
Yeah, that game we had Welbeck out, we had Rooney out. We didn't really have. If we'd have had the attacking line, I think it might have been a slightly different game
as well. I mean, what do you make
None
of that?
None of that front four played in Ukraine.
No, they didn't.
Townsend, Sturridge didn't play.
No.
So that's probably why. I reckon if we'd have had that front line in Ukraine, I don't think he'd have played that front line. I think on the left he'd have probably kept.
That's the point. Though, in the World Cup, he's not going to play Welbeck, Sturridge, Townsend, and Rooney.
That's the thing that I worry about with Hodgson. When push comes to shove, when it's okay against your Poland's and Montenegro's, if we get Argentina, say, Tim, in the quarter-final, the World Cup, there's no way he's going to go for an attacking incentive, is there? Is that typical of England? It's England curse, is it? When push comes to shove, we go negative.
My opinion on that is I don't see why not, because
it's pragmatic, though, isn't it?
You can go defensive against a team like that, but once they get a goal, that's it. Suddenly, it's like you've got to wake up then. I mean, when it's a one match thing like it is in the World Cup, it's not over two legs or anything, it's that one game. I don't see the point in sitting back and defending. I think you should just play that front line and just have a go. But
there's no way he's going to do it, though, is it? I mean, for me, Alex, I don't know about you, but I feel like the quintessential England performance at a World Cup that sums it all up is the one against Brazil 2002. We were winning, Brazil had a man sent off and we just did nothing. We were just passengers, weren't we?
No, I like Hodgson, but I can't see him play. It's different when you've got two home games you need to win. Yeah. But when it's a tournament against better teams,
he'll bottle it.
I think it'll be similar to the 2012, to be honest.
Interesting look at it. Leighton Baines, Ashley Cole, left-back position. Who do you think should be?
Baines.
Yeah, Baines. I'd go Baines, absolutely.
First half, it was awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah. Baines, you get all the attacking threat, and Ashley Cole is not quite...
See, that's my only worry about that left-hand side is you've got Welbeck, but Welbeck and Sturridge kind of start to merge into the front two.
Yeah.
With Rooney behind and Townsend out on the right. So you've got nothing on the left apart from Leighton Baines. And Montenegro's goal actually came from there being nobody in front of Leighton Baines. Leighton Baines were tracking back, and there was just him on the left on his own. And I even put the tweet out, which everyone saw, which was, if Montenegro want to score, go down the left. Go down their right, sorry.
Tim works for Montenegro.
I do. I am, I don't know what the company's called, but I work for them.
One tweet that I did see, Alex, was someone said when Carrick played with Gerrard, Carrick always goes and supports the player and makes himself available, whereas Lampard is quite tunnel vision in that way. Did you notice any change between the Carrick and Lampard aspect?
I don't see a massive difference, to be honest. I'm not convinced by either, really. I think it works better when Gerrard can play a bit further forward, which was the case when Carrick played. But I wouldn't mind seeing like a Phil Jones in there with a bit more.
Energy. He's injured though, isn't he? Drop of a hat.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of time before the World Cup. For the World Cup, I wouldn't mind seeing Jones with his bit more energy. He's a defensive-minded player anyway, and then it'll free up probably Wiltshire and Gerrard to push up further forward.
Suddenly it looks brighter, doesn't it? The England horizon with the players coming through. If you were taking a punt, Tim, you're deciding who gets on the plane to Brazil in the summer. Who's the player that maybe people haven't got their eye on, or is in the fringes, or is up and coming? Who would you take as a punt to that World Cup?
Ricky Lambert.
So you go Lambert.
I think he offers just something a little bit different. Because if we're playing against a team who are just packing the defence. And it's difficult to play the ball around them. If you've got Leighton Baines out on the left and Townsend, who can both do their own decent crosses, and you've got Ricky Lambert in the middle. I think it's also... I know some people don't like the tall striker thing, but I think it makes defenders think twice about, moving forward.
Yeah.
And I think it just gives them something else to think about.
Yeah, you need another option on the bench, and, definitely in the squad.
So who would you go for then, Alex? Who's your
tough question, really. 3 months ago, if you'd have said Barkley, Townsend, Morrison, you'd have...
Yeah. What do you think about Morrison? Ravel Morrison scored a fantastic goal for the under-21.
Well, I think he's similar to player to Barkley.
I do. Yeah.
So I think in the end it probably will be one of the two, similar with Carroll and Lambert probably. Obviously Barkley's ahead at the moment, but...
Do you think England central midfield for the future is looking a bit bright with Wilshere, Morrison and Barkley?
Yeah,
it doesn't look as terrible, does it?
I don't think it is. And plus, when you
Townsend,
when you consider who they've got to learn from, they have got. I don't care what you say in their own right.
Yeah.
Lampard and Gerrard are world class players in their own right.
Yeah.
I think playing together is a little bit different. But if you got them two as mentors, that'd be. Or just two players who just
I didn't think Gerrard was as all-conquering as being made out, though, in these two games.
Prime.
I think he's...
In his prime, he were at Liverpool.
Oh, no, I mean just these last couple of games.
Well, the last couple of games...
He's given the ball away a few times. I think he's a bit of a square passer at times.
He has, but I think...
Too much Hollywood as well.
In my opinion, I think he's a good captain. I think if it got down to a tough game, it would be the one who'd be, sliding in, throwing a bit, showing a bit of passion, like he has done for Liverpool, really.
Yeah.
So that's my.
Was Gerrard captain under Capello?
Yeah.
After the Terry scandal,
at the World Cup.
At the World Cup, yeah. What an inspiring job. So, looking at England in the World Cup next year, then, what are your predictions for that? Then, how far do you think they can go? I mean, Hodgson's came out, and I do actually agree with him. He said, "There's no point to say it's impossible, because then what's the point of even turning up? You've got to say there's a possibility. How small that possibility is, well, that's up for debate. So, what do we see? Do we see? Is it another potential quarter-final? Like, say,
I think for this England team at the moment, I think we've achieved the minimum, which was get to the World Cup.
Yeah.
I think that's the minimum at the moment. Past that, if we get to quarter-finals, fantastic, brilliant, loving it. But
yeah.
I think a lot depends on the group.
Yeah.
Second seed, so we're going to have one big one.
Another biggie, aren't we? Yeah.
And even like a third seed, if we get a tough one there, might struggle in the group.
Yeah. But it's like I said the other way, I think our level now is the Sweden kind of Ukraine.
Yeah, we're not.
That's our level at the moment, in my opinion.
When it comes to the squad as well, it might go back to the Milner, Ashley Young.
Yeah.
And we might not even see half of these youngsters.
Well, that's another thing you see. I mean, it'll be incredibly disappointing if we don't see some of the
2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yes, exactly.
But credit to him.
Got too far like that.
It's brought them through last few games.
The Townsend one was inspired.
Genius.
What do you make of the rankings? England ranked 10th in the world. Is that realistic?
Well, when I first saw that, I was like, yeah, that's probably about where I think we should be.
I thought we were like 6th a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Does anyone really pay attention? Does anyone really follow these?
We'll pay attention if we get Spain and then.
Yeah, but do they relate to the seedings and that kind of thing? The rankings. Well, I suppose. Well, they do.
I think we're in a tougher
It's
continent, which is probably why we are a bit lower down. Yeah. I mean, I think if you were in like East, if you were in like the Far East, like Japan or Australia or something, you might be a bit higher up in the rankings. But when it comes to competitive matches, when you've got teams like Netherlands, Germany, Spain, I mean, I know we haven't had any of them in the past couple of years. You know, it's still tough to get through.
Yeah, Colombia 4th, Alex.
Yeah. Well done
team
to them, yeah.
Falcao, yeah. Rodriguez, yeah. Doing it. Right, OK, let's have a look now at League One and our only team there, Bradford City. I've kind of been looking forward to getting you two in the podcast, you know, and kind of revelling in what happened. Tranmere, bottom of the league. It's at Valley Parade. What happened? Who wants to go first?
I'll
let Tim go.
Very sheepish here in the podcast, can I just say? What happened?
It's just...
no excuses, please.
You know what? Right. I know I am not one of these fans who likes going to City and just constantly bashing the referee. Right. Because each team has the same referee. But I've done some research on Mr. Drysdale on the internet, and I can't find one person who says that they actually think he is a good or a competent referee. Some of the decisions that he made, I mean, there were even some of the decisions which went for us, which I like the odd throw-in, but it wasn't just Darren Drysdale in the middle, it was all 4 of them. All 4 of them didn't have a clue. The linesman didn't have a clue, the fourth official didn't have a clue. I mean, obviously the main flashpoint was the Ian Goodison elbow, forearm, whatever you want to call it.
Which I've seen, and I'd say a bit inconclusive, to be honest.
Inconclusive, are you?
Yeah.
Well, I looked at
this. Is from a Leeds fan.
Yeah, there was a bit on the news afterwards where someone had recorded it and put it on YouTube, and they'd also the Sky correspondent at the time said it looked accidental. Now, I've watched it back. There's nothing accidental. He knew what he was doing. But what annoys me is he asked the fourth official about it, but they didn't ask the linesman who were also on the side, who was stood right next to it as well.
Alex, sour grapes?
Well, you can't play down the role the ref had. I were more bothered about the time wasting rather than that one incident. Because the time wasting happened for a good... Well... definitely the whole of the second half.
But hang on, whoa, hang on. Tranmere are bottom of the league. They haven't won in God knows how long.
They're in the same league.
Yeah, but they're travelling to a team that's in form at the high up in the league. What do you expect them to do? Go and get rolled over and play lovely? Go on, here's an open goal. Have a few goals.
When we went to Villa Park, in fact, Wigan, Arsenal, Villa, I didn't hear one of their fans moan about our tactics.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the only way to go about it.
Shrewsbury, right?
Yeah.
They were on a poor form run. They came to Valley Parade and they scored in the first minute because they came and they went, right, we'll have a go, right? What annoyed me as well is, admittedly, with the time waste. It's okay to time waste. Yeah. Every team time wastes, right? City of time waste.
Yeah.
But what it is it's up to the referee in the middle to stamp out the time wasting. Now, the goalkeeper was constantly time wasting. It took him up till the referee halfway through the second half.
84th minute.
He ran about 50 yards up the pitch, and all he did was talk to the keeper and tell him to hurry up.
And that
wasted more time.
That
wasted more time. Why not just,
So it's not really Tranmere's fault.
No, it is.
It's tactics. I am refereeing bashing here because there were three penalty shouts. Admittedly, 2 were probably not so much. But
Right.
Well, actually, I'd probably say the Gary Thompson one where he got badged was debatable.
Yeah.
Outside the area, it's a free kick, but he's not going to give a penalty for that. Holding Jason Kennedy back, that was 1, right? And then the pull back on Mark Yates. After the third one, any referee will go, right, we need to stamp this out. And what also annoys me, last thing is the amount of Premier League refs that were sat on the bums that day. Down at Coventry, they had Mike Dean.
Alex?
Another point, Ronnie Moore, who City fans can't stand. He's been managing a long time, and if that's how far it's come, that it's still just got terrible tactics like that. It proves why he's never progressed as a manager.
Doesn't that show frailty in City? The fact that they let themselves get distracted. They weren't able to overcome a team that's bottom of the league. You know they're going to come and park the bus or dirty tactics and all that. Doesn't that point to a frailty in City rather than just blaming Tranmere?
To be fair, it's one defeat.
But isn't that frustrating though when you're in the ascendancy in the league and you're going to lose to bottom of the league at home?
It's frustrating, but
on Sky.
The last 2.5 years under Parkinson, I think our heaviest defeat at home is just by the odd goal.
Yeah.
It was Rochdale, wasn't it? The heaviest defeat at home with Parky, isn't it? Or the
was Parkinson, man?
Rochdale last season.
Well, 4-2, yeah.
But they all go. We
had top scorer out, we had defenders out, we had best midfielder in defence.
Yeah.
A lot just seemed to go against us, but the only plus point is Saturday's results went for us. It's just annoying we didn't take advantage. Well, yeah, we'd have had a really big gap then, but we're still 4th in the league.
We've always struggled with teams like that, though. We struggled with Rotherham, we've struggled with, Crawley, Exeter. I mean, it got to, I think it was about the 50th, 55th minute, and I said to my brother, this is exactly the same as Exeter last season, Port Vale last season, where they just came smash and grab, basically. They managed to get the odd goal, and then that way they'd just sit back, and then it were up to us to try and score. But I'd say that we missed it. Derby's chance in the first half probably turned the game as well. I think it was a difficult shot for him to, get right, and it went over the bar. And had that gone in, I think it'd changed the game a little bit.
So, Alex, is this a shot in the arm then? Not that they necessarily needed it, but up next is Crawley, who were doing pretty well themselves. Good season last year. How's that going to affect City going into this game?
Well, that's another frustrating thing as well, because this is the start of a really hard run.
Yeah.
We've got Preston and Wolves as well as Crawley in the next 7 days. I think Naki Wells should be back for the Preston game, but is missing against Crawley.
Right.
I think this is one where I'd happily take a draw, but I'm not confident.
Not confident. Right, well, let's get to the predictions then. Tim, how do you see it going? What score?
I'm not copying you, Alex, mate, but I'm going to go for a draw as well. I think the City can get something there, and I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. 1-1 draw. Alex?
Well, I've actually put a defeat. I'd take a draw, but I've got 2-1 Crawley.
Right, I've gone 4-0 Crawley. Any reaction to that?
I won't put money on it.
Oh dear. OK, well, we're going to have a look at Huddersfield Town now, and I'm delighted to say joining us on the telephone now is Doug Thompson, who's the Huddersfield Town writer for the Huddersfield Examiner. Hi, Doug.
Hiya, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for coming on. So, Huddersfield have had a couple of weeks there to stew on that narrow loss to Watford, and it's Leicester up next, which is going to be a difficult one. Now, how do you see that one going, Doug?
Yeah, like you say, another tough game, really. You look back to the Watford game, and that was a bit of a yardstick, if you like, as to the progress that they've made this season. And I think the Leicester game will be pretty similar, really. In a different kind of way, Watford a good counter-attacking team, very quick passing team. Leicester a fairly solid all-round and a really good home record. So it's going to take some doing to get anything down there. And
they're going to have to watch out for Nugent, aren't they, who's Leicester's top scorer at the moment. He's got 7 in 11 games, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, Nugent's a very good player. Obviously got his England cap a little while ago. They've got Chris Wood possibly coming back in. He's been a bit of a problem for Town over the years. He scored quite a few goals against them. Certainly last season he did. And Anthony Knockaert as well, the French midfielder, or attacking midfielder. He's also done well against Town last season particularly. So there's plenty of players that you need to be wary of.
Absolutely. I mean, and we touched on it last week, Doug. But season so far, it's going steady, isn't it? It's kind of waiting to see which way it's going to go, though, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I see these next 4 games as being fairly crucial, really, to the way that the season is going to go between now and the next international break. They've obviously got Leicester away. Saturday they've got Leeds at home, Wigan away, and then Birmingham at home. So all big games and real crunch games, really. It could well dictate the way the rest of the season goes. Obviously, at this stage last season, Town were doing quite well, riding quite high, and then they got into a real slump.
Absolutely.
That needs to be avoided this time, definitely.
Hi, Doug. Alex here.
Hiya.
Hi. Yeah, just want to ask you about Dwayne Holmes, youngster at Town. I've seen him a couple of times. Looks really good. Could you just tell us a bit more about him?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, really exciting prospect. He's been doing well in the academy team and then the under-21s for a couple of years, really. Now, obviously, highly thought of. And he's shown a sort of steady progress through those two teams. He was actually on the bench a couple of times last season, and I think, they might have used him. Certainly when Mark Lewis was caretaker, he came into the frame a little bit. Mark Lewis obviously having a good knowledge of the academy. And has looked an exciting prospect since then, so a lot of people have been waiting a long time to see him, really. And he hasn't disappointed, to be fair. He came on at Hull in the Capital One Cup, made a real impact, and did the same against Blackpool and against Watford. I think the difference you get with Dwayne is that as an attacking midfielder, he's very direct, and he's also a good passer of the ball. So he's made a really positive impression. I know the club are sort of careful not to rush anything and not to make too big a deal out of it, but he's certainly an exciting prospect. A long way to go, obviously, but an 18-year-old lad, he's got bags of promise, and it's exciting, hopefully, to see him develop with Town.
Fantastic. And if you had to call it, Doug, I hate doing this to you, but Leicester Huddersfield, how do you see that one going?
I think if people were being realistic, they'd probably say a draw would be a good outcome. I mean, obviously, you go down there, you want to win every game you're playing.
Yeah.
But to avoid defeat, certainly the last 5 league games spread over quite a long number of years at Leicester, they've lost every one of them. Yeah. They did get that win in the FA Cup last season, which gives you a little bit of confidence. League football's obviously a different matter. And a draw would be a good outcome, realistically. But obviously, we'd like to go there and win.
Brilliant. Doug, thanks very much for joining us.
No problems.
OK, so, fellas, looking at the Leicester versus Huddersfield Town, well, shall I give my prediction first? Yeah? 2-2 I'm going for. Anyone got a comment about that? What are you two going for?
I don't know. I've gone for the same result, however...
You've gone for 2-2 as well?
No, I don't think there's going to be any goals. I think it's going to be 0-0.
OK. Alex?
Well, as a City fan, I've gone 2-0 Leicester.
I think
they'll bounce back after that defeat.
You think they'll bounce back? Fair enough.
And Town aren't doing great at the moment.
No. Right, OK, let's have a look at Leeds United in action this weekend against Birmingham. Leeds not on a great run of form. Alex looking pretty dodgy at the moment. But Birmingham, they're even worse off at the moment. That's not going to be a great game, I would imagine.
Well, Sky have picked it, haven't they, for Sunday?
Yeah.
I'm not sure with Birmingham. They don't have the strongest team, but they're one of those that can pull off a decent result.
Yeah.
So, like Leeds, they're quite unpredictable.
Yeah.
I can't see a load of goals, but I think it'll be tight. I think Leeds will probably just nick it, but
you think
it's
Leeds
hard one to call, yeah.
Leeds will nick it. Tim, same question. Leeds, not great form. Birmingham lower in the league. How do you see that one going?
I think, well, I don't know. I can't really pick this one, to be perfectly honest. I've got 2-1 written down here, but now I'm considering that, reconsidering it, because it's just...
I'm noticing a theme here. Like Tim Tim's changing up his predictions, isn't it?
No, it's just when people say certain things, and I'm like, actually, yeah. Like when you just went there, they're lower in the league, and I was like, well, yeah, they're not actually doing too well.
If you pick every result, you'll get one right.
Yeah, you're not allowed to put 3 or 4 results.
I go to a betting shop and I just tick all of them.
Yeah. Right, so if we're going for the score, then with this one, I'm going to go 2-1 Leeds, but I don't feel good with
right,
that.
well, I'm going to...
What you're going to go?
My final answer, right, I'm going 50-50, right?
You've used your life, your lifetime.
I'm going 1-1. There we are. How's that? Sitting on the fence.
Sitting on the fence, lovely. Alex?
I've got 1-0 Leeds, mate.
You've got 1-0 Leeds. Fair enough. So we'll see what happens there. Right, let's have a look at the Conference Premier now and Halifax Town. I'm delighted to say joining us is our Halifax Town correspondent, it's Andrew Pinfield. Hi, Andrew.
Good evening.
Thanks for popping on. So, a 0-0 draw against Woking, if we look back at that. Manager Aspin, he said they were pleased with that. It was a better point for Halifax than it was Woking. Do you agree with that?
Well, you could look at it both ways, Steve. I mean, the thing is, we've not got beat away from home, but we've yet to get the 3 points in the bag, and it was frustrating because we did have chances in the game to snatch it, particularly towards the end of the game when Josh Wilson hit the post with a free kick, and then Lee Gregory, he rounded the keeper in stoppage time, only to stumble on the turf. So it's one of those things where we could have snatched it, but I think overall the draw was a fair result on the day.
Yeah, so, and it's Welling up next who are flying high there in 6th place. That's going to be a difficult one, isn't it, again?
Yeah, it will be a difficult game. Welling are particularly strong at home. We've got home advantage this week, so we'll be looking for the 3 points. They've done well from the blue square south of Welling, and we've played them a few times in our previous spell in the conference, so it will be a tough game. But with home advantage, you'll be looking to at least get the draw, but hopefully get all 3 points.
Hopefully nick it all. And obviously in the 4th qualifying round of the FA Cup, Halifax will be playing Nuneaton, who they just met a couple of games ago, didn't they, where Nuneaton snatched that last minute draw. So that's going to be a tough one there. But do you fancy them in that game?
Well, again, I think it'll be too close to call, to be honest with you. It's away from home again, and everyone knows that we've not yet registered that first win away from this year. But if we can get them back in a replay, perhaps, then you'd like to think we could beat them over 2 matches, hopefully on the day. But if not, then a draw wouldn't be a bad result, as long as we're in the hat for the first round.
Absolutely. Now, if I have to twist your arm, Andrew, for this game against Welling up next, if you're putting money on it, who would you bet on?
I think I'll go for Halifax by the odd goal. It won't be clear-cut. I mean, I don't think it'll be a Grimsby scenario where it'll be a 4-0 win, but I'll go for a Town 2-1 home win.
Lovely. Brilliant. Thanks, Andrew.
Catch you later.
Thanks a lot, mate. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Right, OK, let's have a look at predictions then. Halifax Town against Welling. Tim, what are you doing with that one? Where are you going there?
I'm afraid to say for the Sherman, it's going to be a 2-1 loss, I think.
Ooh.
I think Welling are going to nick that one.
Yeah.
They've got quite a lot of goals in them.
Yeah. I fancy that a draw, 1-1 myself. Alex, what have you gone with there?
Due to the home form, I've picked 2-1 Halifax.
2-1 Halifax. OK, joining us on the telephone now is our Bradford Park Avenue correspondent. It's Chris Bell. Hi, Chris.
You're right, Steve. How are you, mate?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on, mate. So, it was the FA Cup at the weekend. Bradford Park Avenue, the squeeze through, but it was closer, wasn't it? Penrith were 1-up.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a bit tighter than you'd probably have expected, to be fair, when you looked at that tie on paper. Park Avenue, he was pretty even first half, didn't really trouble, but then neither did Penrith. Second half, Park Avenue very, very sluggish, to be fair, coming out for the second half. And, you know, they really did let Penrith take control of that opening 10 or 15 minutes. Obviously, they got the goal. And it was that kind of kick up the backside, really, that the Park Avenue players needed. And then, to be fair to them, for the final, half an hour or so, they really did dig in a lot better, got the equaliser and pushed on. And, well, it's 92nd minute, to come with a winning goal. But this is the thing, we talked, obviously, last week. And, on paper, that tie looked a lot more, comfortable, shall we say, than it actually turned out to be. Obviously, they've been handed, on paper, a very, very tough tie in the next round.
Absolutely. Well, Kidderminster, isn't it, up next? And what do we think there? It's going to be a difficult one, like you say, isn't it, Chris?
It is. Well, when you look at the league standings, there's only one harder tie they could have had, to be honest, and that's Cambridge, who are, of course, top of the Conference Premier. They've had to make do for Kidderminster, who were second. So, obviously, you look at that, Kidderminster, they're on some great form, flying high in the league. Of course, good year last year as well with the playoffs. But it's going to be an interesting one from Park Avenue, because it's going to be, without a doubt, on paper, it's the hardest test they'll have.
Yeah.
Park Avenue are one of those sides that when they have to step up, shall we say, against, either higher league opposition or a tougher test, shall we say, they're pretty good at doing that so far. So it could be an interesting game, and obviously it's now been officially moved to the Sunday of that weekend. So now kick off at 3 o'clock on Sunday, the 27th of October, instead of the Saturday 26th. That's due to Bradford City, of course, being at home to Wolves.
Yes.
And Huddersfield Leeds as well in the Championship. So that makes sense, obviously from policing reasons, of course, all the fans. Kidderminster's not that far from Wolverhampton, really, so, it'll help out a lot there. It will hopefully as well, entice a few of the fans of, City or Huddersfield, your Leedses, your Halifaxes, etc., to come down, really, and support the local non-league side. And we said this about the Penrith tie as well, about how it can hopefully bring people in. Absolutely. This one really should do, because it's the fun tie, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And looking at the league, Chris, up next, it's Colwyn Bay, who are not in a great run of form themselves. What can we expect with that one?
They're a very well-organised side, generally, or Colwyn Bay, especially, they have been for the last, the latter stage of last season, when Frank Sinclair was appointed as the permanent manager. They were a much more organised and rigid, hard-to-beat side, which eventually saw them get themselves out of relegation problems last season. This one, they didn't start that well, I don't think. Then they've picked up a few wins, but I think now they're back to 4 games without a win. Bit hit and miss. Obviously, with Park Avenue, 8th in the league, just 3 or 4 points off the playoffs, playing some good stuff, grinding out results when they have to. There should be a lot of optimism for Park Avenue, though, making the trip to North Wales. Absolutely. So, if you had to call it, Chris, which way do you see it going? I think just because of the run that Park Avenue are on, it's now 11 games unbeaten in League and Cup. You'd have to favour Bradford Park Avenue. I think, they'll if they can just break them down, basically, is going to be the thing, because Colwyn Bay, they'll be organised, they'll have plenty of men behind the ball. And this is what's going to be the frustrating thing, I think, for John Deacy's side, is the fact that they're going to have to work so hard just to start, finding the cracks, shall we say, to be able to break through. So I think Park Avenue will do it. It might take a bit of time to get a goal, to get that first breakthrough, but I reckon Park Avenue will probably take it, by at least 1 or 2 goals. 1 or 2 goals. Chris, thanks very much for joining us. No problem at all, mate. Take care, mate. Enjoy the game. Bye. See you later, mate. Bye-bye. All right, fellas, so we've heard Chris Bell there. Let's get your predictions. Who do I come to for? Alex, right, let's hear what you've got to say. Park Avenue, Colwyn Bay, which way do you see it going, and what's the score going to be? I've gone for Park Avenue 2-1, based on Colwyn's poor form, and Park Avenue always have plenty of goals in them. Tim?
I've gone a bit more extreme with my prediction. I've gone 4-1 to Park Avenue. I think there could be quite a few goals in that one, and I think Colwyn Bay's goal will possibly come from Adi Akinbaye, who we all know. I'd just love to see him score. Yeah, that will be superb. Well, I'm going 1-0 Colwyn Bay. You think? Yeah, what do you have to say about that? Idiot. Well, we'll see. Well, saying that, it's on the North Wales coast. It's meant to be horrible weather, so I think we heard another Bradford team last week were supposed to be, definite winners, and it didn't happen, did it? So, No. Oh, well. Lovely. OK, well, joining us on the telephone now is our Guiseley correspondent. It's Colin Robertson. Hi, Colin.
Hi, Stephen. How are you doing? I'm good, thank you. Thanks for coming on. So, we spoke last week. It was a bit frustrating because Guiseley, obviously, after that Altrincham loss, had to wait 2 weeks for the next game. And it's Histon next. What can we expect there? Well, it'll be a tough game. I tell you what, it's always tough to play Histon. Last season, they were really struggling, and they still put together a really good side, a young side. And last December, when we played them, we were lucky to come away with the 3 points, I felt. And I think, again, they'll be very stern opposition, although they're not in great form at the moment, to be fair.
And this is a big game on Saturday. It's a big game because I think this is the one where everyone's expecting a result, and they will be demanding a result, I'm sure.
Absolutely, yeah. You say demanding a result because the fans are not happy. I mean, when we spoke last week, we got a couple of tweets from fans saying, how disappointed they are with the way things are going. So there's a lot riding on it. I mean, worst comes to the worst, and it's another loss, Colin. A head's going to roll?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, I don't think it's that sort of situation. I think it's frustrating to see the problems that have happened, and I'm sure that, the management team and the players themselves will want to put things right. I mean, I think I've been saying it for the last few weeks, and obviously there's nothing happened this week to dissuade us or change our opinion. But, we haven't been beaten in the last week, so that's a good thing. But
I like it.
I think there are certain positive indicators, certain positive signs.
Yeah.
And it's just a case of turning those into points now.
Absolutely. And they've signed Ryan Williams, haven't they? And also Steve Dickinson, he's back in the net for them.
Yeah, I mean, these are sort of peripheral signings, I think, in fairness. I don't think anyone's putting these down as being necessarily the key signings for the club.
No.
At the end of the day, Ryan Williams is a youngster who's untried his university. But looked very sharp when he came on against Altrincham. Looks a real promise, and a lot's been talked about him. A real prospect is what AD Towers spoke to me.
But you wouldn't expect him to start, though.
But I wouldn't expect him to start, no. But he could be one to watch. Steve Dickinson, well, we needed cover at goalkeeping. Great to have the legend that is Steve Dickinson come back to the club. Obviously gone around and played at clubs like Southport last few years, but he's a Guiseley legend in his day, and so we very welcome back. But really only cover for Stephen Drench, who is really the number one through and through.
Fantastic. So, Colin, finally, what's your gut instinct for this game then? If you have to, if you had to put a result against it, what do you think?
I don't know. I think it is time for a result, and I think there's enough riding on it. Yeah. I think it'll be tight though. If you're going to force the old score prediction out of me, I'd go for a 2-1. I'd have to say 2-1 to Guiseley though, and I think there'll be plenty of squeaky bums.
Fantastic, Colin. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Yeah, cheers, Steve.
Take care. Let's hope they get the win. Thank you, mate. Bye bye.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
OK, so we've just heard there from our Guiseley correspondent Colin Robertson, and now it's prediction time in the studio here. So, Tim, Guiseley versus Histon. What's going to be the score? Don't forget to write it down.
You know what? I think I'm going to agree with Colin. I think it might be a 2-1 win for Guiseley, because they were winning at Altrincham, and then there were a couple of minutes where it all went wrong. So, yeah, I think they might manage to get a win against Histon.
And have you written it down?
I will do.
Alex, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going for Guiseley win as well.
Oh, you're both bottling it and going by what the correspondent says. All right, fair enough. So you're going what score?
1-0 Guiseley.
1-0 Guiseley. I'm finding it really hard not to say Guiseley win as well. I'm going to go for something convincing. I'm going to go 2-0 Guiseley. OK, let's have a look at the Premiership games coming up this weekend, and we'll start with the early kick-off on Saturday. Newcastle-Liverpool. How do you see that one going, Tim?
I think Newcastle need to try and get a bit of retribution for last year, when I think it was 7-0. I don't know, I stopped watching after this. So. Yeah. Pardew said that was his fault, that match. He said that he played too open. I'm going to go 2-1 Newcastle.
2-1 Newcastle. Alex?
I'm probably going to say it a lot, but I think it's tough after you've had the international break.
Yeah.
Players that have been travelling all over the world, played a few games. So I think it will be tougher to predict this week, but I think I'll go for 1-1.
1-1. Oh, I've gone 1-1 as well. There we go. See, I'll be wrong. Smart and copying all his Premiership ones. OK, Swansea City versus Sunderland. Tim, he could go either way. Poyet in charge now at Sunderland. His first game, a lot of pressure, I suppose. He says, "Don't compare me to Di Canio." Can they get a win there?
I'd very much doubt it. I don't think Sunderland. It's a long trip for him. I don't think they've had many players in internationals either, have they?
No.
Quite a lot of them have had 2 weeks out, and Swansea probably have a few more who are still ready for it. So for my prediction, I've gone 3-1 Swansea.
So Alex, Swansea City versus Sunderland. How do you see that one going, mate?
Well, I think in the long run, I think Poyet will do quite well.
He eased it. I can't even believe there's any kind of comparison between him and Di Canio, really. I don't see anything.
Well, they've both been in the lower leagues and they've both
had a bit of controversy
and a bit of success as well, both of them. But I don't know. I think they'll do well under Poyet, and I do think he'll get them out of trouble. But I think it'll be 2-0 Swansea. 2-0
Swansea. I'm going 3-1 Swansea. That one, I think. Okay, let's have a look at Stoke City West Brom. Well, I mean, it's a difficult one. West Brom, they're getting the results, though. How do you see that one going, Tim?
I've gone for an away win. I've gone for 2-1 there. I think Stoke are trying to play nice football, but, I think that's undressed as lamb, really. I'm just not a big fan of Stoke, as you all know, but I think West Brom will pick up a win there.
Yeah, I agree. I've gone 2-1 West Brom as well.
I've gone 2-1 as well.
Oh, that's fine. We all look idiots. And
I was coming up with a real shock result, but no,
nothing there. Arsenal versus Norwich. Arsenal sitting pretty in the Premier League currently. I'll do my prediction first. I think that's going to be 2-2. I think Norwich are going to dig something out here. I think it may have a surprise there. I don't think Arsenal are quite as complete as people are hoping or making out at the moment. What do you think of that one, Tim?
Yeah, well, I'd expect you to think that they'd get a draw. As you know, it is your team's a reserve, Norwich.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So
I'm loyal to
I don't think it's going to be as clear cut as I would have probably thought if Walcott and Ozil were on the pitch.
Yeah.
So I've gone for 2-0 Norwich. 2-0 Arsenal.
Sorry, we've got to accept your first answer.
2-0 Arsenal.
Alex?
I've gone 3-0 Arsenal, but I thought Norwich played really well against Chelsea last game, and I've said it before, but I do like some of the players they've got. But I think Arsenal will win pretty comfortably.
You think they're still going to prevail there? Chelsea-Cardiff now. I mean, surely that's got to be a home banker for Chelsea. Has it, Tim?
I'm not too sure about this. I think Chelsea are going to win by the odd goal, just because Chelsea always make hard work of these ones. So I originally wrote down 2-1, but I think I'm going to stick down a 1-0 for that. I don't think Cardiff will get a goal, because I think they'll set up to defend, but I think Chelsea will get that goal.
Chelsea will get that goal there. I'm going to go 4-1 Chelsea. I think it'll be comprehensive.
Well, I think they will outplay Cardiff, and I think it's not a good time for Cardiff to go at Chelsea with all the scouts been sacked and the managers up in the air about whether he's going to be there for much longer.
It's an incredible set of circumstances, that, isn't it, after everything that's happened?
Well, every season now, you get a team promoted to the Premier League and
the press of self-destruct.
Yeah, you used to just get the season, and if you stayed up, it was a great achievement, and now it's
interfering immediately.
2 or 3 months in, and
it's incredible, isn't
it? Stupid.
Yeah, change the whole squad, now changing the whole backroom staff.
Yeah.
Change the colours.
It don't work exactly.
I'll say 2-0 Chelsea.
2-0 Chelsea.
That's because they've not got a proper striker.
That's because they've not got a proper striker. Everton, Hull. Everton, I thought were unlucky against Man City. I thought they certainly were better that first half, Tim. Against Hull, who were flying, doing really well themselves. How do you see that one going?
I think it's going to be a very rough ride back down to earth for Hull. I think going to Goodison Park on a Saturday afternoon isn't the easiest place to go, so I think Everton are going to win that 3-0.
Wow.
Your man Ross Barkley, let's go.
You know, I would really love to agree with you. I would really love it if Everton beat Hull City, but I've got to think it's going to be a draw. I think Hull are going to snatch something from that game. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I think it'll be close as well. I've got 1-0 Everton. But yeah, I think Hull will put up a good fight.
Hull will put up a good fight there. Manchester United versus Southampton. Things have changed in the last few weeks for Manchester United. They beat Sunderland. It seems to have picked it up slightly. I've gone 3-0 Man United for that one. I think Southampton, although they're really good and
I've just seen
high.
Tim's predictions. I'll let him say it.
Tim,
I've put my wild card for the week in. This is my wild card. I think Man United are going to lose.
Oh,
and I think they're going to lose 3-1.
3-1.
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
And my thinking about this is, I think that Southampton will be winning 2-1. Man U will be trying to get a goal back, and that's where the third one will come from. That's the only reason I've done that. I'm probably 95% sure I'm going to be wrong. But you got to win big, haven't you? You got to go big to win big.
Alex?
Well, I have been praising Southampton a lot and criticising Man United a lot, but I just feel with the England results, Rooney coming back into a bit of form, I think that might help Man U, and I think it'll be close. I've put 2-1 Man United.
2-1 Man United. Lovely. Final game on Saturday, Tim. West Ham versus Man City. West Ham got that fantastic 3-0 win at White Hart Lane against Spurs. Can they continue that against Man City?
Unfortunately, not in my opinion. I don't think so. I think Man City are going to win that. Probably about 2-0. But saying that, Man City have struggled away from home, haven't they?
True. I think Man City will win 3-1 on that one. That's
I've
what I
put 2-1 Man City.
You've gone 2-1. So we think Man City are going to get that away victory and tidy up. Looking at Sunday, Aston Villa versus Tottenham. As we just mentioned, then shock result for Tottenham last game against West Ham. So not everything's sorted out for Tottenham at the moment, Alex, is it? I mean,
no,
they were title contenders, weren't they, a few weeks ago, and then one result and it all changes the complexion of it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think up front's a worry. I know Defoe scored a few in the Cup, but you wouldn't rely on him up front on his own much.
No.
And Soldado is not, apart from the penalties, he's still not scored in the league, has he?
So what if you attain a result there?
Yeah, they've played recently in the Cup and Tottenham won 4-0 at Villa Park, but I don't know. I've put 1-0 Tottenham.
1-0 Tottenham. Tim?
I've gone 2-2. I think there'll be a draw on that one. I think there'll be a couple of goals.
That's exactly what I've gone. I've gone 2-2 as well, because Aston Villa themselves are a bit unpredictable, aren't they? Yeah. And they could score a couple of goals. Final game, which is Monday, it's Crystal Palace versus Fulham. What are your predictions for that one, fellas?
Martin Yall's last game in charge, I think.
Wow.
I think Palace.
Hang on,
will win 3-1.
That's a big call.
Because I just think that it's the kind of game where.
Can you write that on your sheet?
I will put that down, because I think it is one of them games where if Fulham lose, which I think they will do, that'll be the end of the manager, I think.
You think that's a bridge too far? Alex, what do you think? Yall to go?
Well, I'll change it and I'll say
oh, he's been influenced.
2-1 Fulham, and it'll be Holloway's last game.
Oh, so one of you here. Oh, that's
so you've got to go for a draw and no one to lose.
I've gone for don't care. That's what I put down. No, I'm gonna.
I like watching Fulham.
Berbatov and that. Yeah.
I will say I do enjoy. The games at Crystal Palace where they beat Sunderland, and then
it's a Holloway team, innit? It's crazy. Yeah, it's a roller coaster, isn't it?
You just on that first day when it came out to Tottenham and they had that huge thing in the stands, the games begin and stuff like that. I thought that was quite the passion Palace is showing is good.
Yeah, it's a great atmosphere. It's a great atmosphere down there. I've gone 1-0 Palace, I think. So I don't know about you all going, but I've gone for a Palace win there. Okay, so that's all we've got time for here on the Route 1 show this week. Thanks very much to all our contributors. If you'd like to get in touch with us on the Route 1 show, you can tweet us at the Route 1 show. You can email us at theroute1show@gmail.com. Also check out our blog on Tumblr. That's the Route 1 show there too. I've been Stephen Brown, and with me for this edition has been Tim Feather. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
And thank you, Alex.
Cheers, Steve.